fellow patriots, Bravo Echo here. Welcome to Hope for Survival YouTube. Thanks for tuning in for another video. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming back. Appreciate your likes and subscriptions, and for those that leave comments, thank you. Again, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so. Please consider sharing with others to help us get the word out and to grow. And if you like this content, please hit like. And if you have any comments, please comment below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. In this video, it's titled, "Who is the Threat?" And I want to try to cover a lot of areas in the time frame of the video, so it's going to be difficult, but we'll try. So who is the threat? So in the last 24 hours, the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Wray, was testifying before the Senate Homeland Security Committee, and he stated that the threat to the United States was at an all-time high. He contributed that to the ongoing war, if you will, in the Middle East. It's growing. Nations are taking sides and they're lining up for what appears to be future engagement. How that impacts us on the domestic front here in the United States could be huge. But there's some other contributing factors that are threats to us. A lot of the speculation has been, per Secretary Wray, or Director Wray, his comments that the threat is from numerous sleeper cells, Hamas, that are already here in the United States. And he also added additionally any domestic terrorist groups as well. And initially we all have the same thought when he says domestic threats, and that would be the conservative right, constitutional patriot types. However, I will show you in a minute when we talk domestic threats. That is a huge basket to pull from. There was recently an interview posted on Dateline, I believe it was Dateline, of an individual that was interviewed talking about that terrorist groups are very familiar with our current policy on our southern border and how thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions have poured into our country, even to the point that a statement was made that some of these individuals were carrying IED explosives in across the border the size of bowling balls. And as much as that is alarming that they're carrying in these threats to the populace of the United States, it's even more alarming that our leadership and our government is doing nothing about it. And they talk about how there has been 100 or more individuals stopped who are on the terrorism watch list. And you have to ask, how many cross the border that are on that list that didn't get caught. And then you've got to wonder, since 9/11, how many have crossed the border who are like-minded and from these organizations. And not just the individuals coming across, but the arms and the weapons to cause physical harm to the United States and their people. And yet, the gates remain wide open. Have you asked yourself maybe why? Why is the leadership of our government, they sit and they bicker in Washington, D.C. and seem upset at each political party over these and the administration, but it's still ongoing, and there's very few to no one standing on the steps holding press conferences warning the American people that we're in trouble. And you have to ask why. So I mentioned in a previous video how my concern was in fact the terrorist organizations and the threat that they pose. But to us individually, especially those of us in the rural communities and so forth, the concern more so of the fallout from the Middle Eastern conflict and how it's going to affect globally and affect us nationally, which will affect us locally. And in the last 24 to 36 hours, the World Bank in writing posted a comment that based on the ongoing actions of the Middle East, that they were projecting that a barrel of oil will cost $150. Now, in some regions of America, diesel fuel has already passed $6 a gallon. And you can just about bet if that reaches $7 a gallon and at $150 a barrel it will. You can just about bet it's going to have a massive impact on our trucking and our ability to move supplies, what supplies are even available. I've noticed in several grocery stores that the supplies are dwindling. I've even noticed grocery stores with workers assigned to an aisle or a couple aisles, and they continually go up and down the aisles and they pull products to the front of the shelves so it looks like they're fully stocked, when in reality they're not. If you move items off the front row, most likely you're going to find the shelves empty behind what's on the front. You might find a second row, but in many cases it's unlikely. So things are not looking better. It's continuing daily to slide further downhill, and even with everything that's going on and the news that is not getting better, there is still individuals, for whatever reason, there's still individuals who are battling accepting what is going on, and they're simply refusing to prepare. Now we can say, well, that's on them, it's not our problem. Well, actually it could become our problem in our neighborhoods and in our communities as well. And if you're within a tank of gas of a major city, if people start fleeing as protests continue building, if they go violent and people start fleeing, people are going to grab their families and leave, and they're going to be looking for refuge at locations outside the cities, and this could be your community. So if you're watching this and you're one of those who are opting to not prepare, I don't know what it's going to take, and I pray for you. But if you are the person of the household that leads and makes decisions, you really need to rethink your position, because it could easily bite you in the behind. So when we talk about domestic threats, I want to, you really can't see it, but I wanted to show you something here. This is from my former life when I was working pretty much fully in the field of terrorism, anti-terrorism. But I had a binder that I used, okay? And when we talk about domestic groups, domestic hate groups, these are kind of groups, organizations who are they're anti-establishment, they're anti-law and order. They all have a cause in their mission statements. But on this list that I put together, it's racial, religious, ethnic, gender, and sexual orientation-based hate groups. And we talk about a domestic group. It could be one or more off this list, or a new group that's unknown. And I've tried to update it over the years if it was someone that I didn't have on here. But just to give you a clue, in this binder, you can see they're single spaced, and there's roughly 32 full pages of these groups that are watched for their hate and their causes. So why does this concern me? Well, as I posted on another Hope for Survival platform recently, we recently had a shooting in Maine where innocent lost their lives, and we recently had the event up in Colorado where the individual was decked out in body armor and had small handguns and rifle and ammunition and explosives, and in his car he had some fake explosives, but the individual intended to cause harm using violence. The individual opted to take his own life instead of harming other people, based on the message that he left beside his body when he committed suicide. The thing that concerns me is if the known international threat that's in our country right now, if they start committing acts of terror, if these other rogue elements or rogue individuals, many of them have in their mind when they commit these acts that they're going to go down in history as a hero. And if they start feeling that these international groups who may start committing these acts are a competition, and they start coming out of the woodwork, now we have two different groups. Well, you have the international threat on U.S. soil, and you have the domestic threat as well. And now you're battling potentially two ideologies, and understanding the ideology behind a group or an individual helps you understand better how they think and potentially their methods of delivering their hate. The other concern is if these groups, international and domestic, if they have a commonality in their hate for America and American citizens, it may be hate for our government, and we're all representative of that government. We, even the poorest in this country live better than many of the middle class and wealthy in third world countries. But if they start joining up, okay, and they start uniting in their cause to attack the American way of life and the great Satan, now we have a bigger problem. And there's been numerous reports coming out of different podcasts of people writing in, witnessing non-English speaking individuals who are out buying ammunition. They're going through stores, loading buggies with survival equipment, and stealing it, going right out the door with it, and so on and so forth. So this could potentially become a huge problem. Now, statistically, what is the threat to you as a group? Well, it's not zero. Okay? There would be a greater potential of someone in a group being impacted by this threat. But if we talk about you as a lone individual, the potential threat drops drastically. And part of that, keeping that threat low, part of that is by you being smart about your daily life. And I know there's some who, well, everywhere I go I'm armed, and everywhere I go, you know, if I have to die a martyr, I'll die a martyr. And they don't have the live to see another day mentality. Okay? And we talk about how, as preparers, your goal should be as prepared as possible, so when these events occur in and around your area, you can retract back to your home and lay low while the violence occurs. Okay? And as I talked a little bit about in book 1, but I talked about fully in book 2, the mindset, was the psychological side of preparedness and threats and so forth. And that is up to you, how well you prepare yourself, how well you practice changing how you approach things. One of the keys of being a hard target and thinking outside the box and staying left of bang is your situational awareness. And a couple pointers on situational awareness for you that we talked about in the book is you got to be able to recognize potential threats around you. What doesn't fit the scene? What doesn't belong there? What may have changed from how you normally know the area? Okay, this may be individuals moving into a neighborhood. It may be things you see parked on the street. It may be things parked in driveways. It may be at a local store, a shopping mall. If domestic groups start merging with the international groups, something that will make it very difficult is when we think of terrorist cells, say from Hamas or another group, we immediately think of they're Middle Easterners and their skin will be of sand color. That is not necessarily the case, okay? And this is why you need to keep your head on a swivel, and you need to be vigilant and alert in all that you do, because you cannot assume a mental picture that anyone and everyone of sand color is going to be bad, okay? But just like in hockey, it only takes one goal to ruin your day and potentially take your life, okay? You can't live your life in fear and assuming that everyone around you is bad. You just have to be vigilant and be ready to adjust your situational awareness based on what you see and what's going on, which goes into the assessing the risk levels in your situational awareness. I continually talk about doing risk assessments in everything that you do. Where is the potential threats and how do you mitigate them? Okay, how do you change them to protect yourself and your family? And a third point is you've got to make informed decisions based off of all the information that you have. Okay, and I talked a little bit about this in the last video that was posted in the last day or two. Okay, making informed decisions. That's based on all the information that you gather, that you see and hear and witness, to paint the picture of what is reality. Okay. As part of the mindset that we talked about as well, you need to enhance your observation skills. All right. And what am I talking about? You need to have a mindfulness and a presence. That means if you're walking in a store, out of a store, or walking through a mall, that you're focused on what's around you. You're not texting back and forth with family or talking to your friend on the telephone. This even goes when you're driving or sitting in traffic, grabbing your phone and checking for messages real quick. You've got to be vigilant and you've got to be focused. Okay, again, everything around you is not a threat. You've just got to be able to detect what may be the threat, okay, and then adjust accordingly. You've also got to have, again, the ability to, above I talked about assessing the risk levels, but you've also got to be able to assess the immediate environment. And it's kind of like being able within 15-20 seconds, if that, run the OODA loop through your mind to help you determine if you need to extract from that situation. That's why we talk about always looking for doors, exits, secondary exits, okay? And simply trust in your gut. What is your gut telling you? Is the hair on your neck standing up? Do you have an uneasy feeling about what is taking place? All right, and only you're going to know that. They're not going to make an announcement over a public address system telling you, hey man or hey lady, coming through the doorway, there's a threat 100 yards ahead of you. Okay, it's not like a video game. This is real life, and you're going to be responsible for your own safety. So some tips for assessing and responding to situations with heightened possible threats. Okay, as we talked about in the mindset, you need to plan ahead. Okay, and part of planning ahead is doing a risk assessment of what it is you're going to do, how you're going to get there, who may be around you. Okay, you may be running to the mall or a grocery store and it's 10 miles away. And you may be thinking about, okay, I'm going to go in the door. I know there's an exit 50 yards up on the left. But what if you're driving through a high crime area to get there and you're not giving any thought at all to that? All right. Okay, and this goes to, again, doing your assessment for your trip, as simple as it may be, going to the store and knowing your surroundings, where you're going to be at, letting someone know where you're going to be at, what route you're taking, about what time to expect you home. In our family, we continually text one another as to what is their location, about how long we'll be there, or if it's a multi-hour trip, as we pass through our own checkpoints, if you will, we text the other one. Miss Lucy and I do these things, and Festus and I also text one another as we go through this process of going from point A to point B. We've been doing it for years. Okay. You need to practice your situation adaptability. Again, this goes back to what doesn't fit in the picture. All right. Well, what is going on maybe in the parking lot or the entryway, or all of a sudden on your route getting there, some streets are blocked off with cones, but you don't see anyone working there. What has changed from how you know it to be? Okay. You want to maintain a low profile as much as possible. This means blending in. I've shared with you in previous videos from working abroad how Americans have a tendency to feel like they're a foot taller than everyone else, and wearing political shirts. I know it's your right, you're in a free country, and by golly, you're going to wear it when you want to wear it. I get it. What I'm saying to you is, if you're going out in public, you need to be very cautious, and you want to blend in. This is why we don't put decals on our vehicles. We show no political affiliation on our vehicles or in our yards. And very, very, very rarely do we have any kind of clothing on depicting a preference one way or the other. Okay. Take proactive measures. This means how are you going to protect yourself, either with lethal or non-lethal. If you're licensed to carry, what are your state laws? What rights does your state grant you, knowing the law? Or if you're using non-lethal, do you know how to use it? And a big thing is, especially ladies, you need to get training. You need to get self-defense training. All right. Many of the Middle Eastern groups, as you may have witnessed their practices in recent attacks in Israel and other locations historically, they do target females. All right, whether it's cutting off arms and legs, it may be raping them, it may be cutting a baby out of their stomach and then murdering the mother. I know that's graphic, but it is a reality, okay? And you can't run and hide from these things. You need to know how to defend yourself to get yourself out of a situation, okay? If you're in a parking lot and you're near your car, hit the panic button, set the alarm off on your car. We've gone through the whole what to look for, things parked near you, if someone's following you. We've covered all this in previous training and in videos as well. So we're at a time in our country that I never thought we would get to. Things are different now. And it's very apparent that our system at this time is unable to protect us. And we have to use our mental toolbox to maybe its fullest capability at any time in our lives. And much of this is doing your homework in advance and utilizing your eyes, what you see, what you hear, what is going on around you. Sometimes, again, it pays to be silent. Okay? So I'm approaching a little over 25 minutes, and that's a bit long for a video, but I wanted to get this information out to you and try to encourage you to stay with it, stay preparing. But you really need now to focus a lot on the psychological side of this. Okay, your best bet would be to stay home if you can, but oftentimes you have to go places and do things. You just need to be aware when you're out to function at a higher alertness and know these capabilities that you may need, skills to get you out of a situation. If you can, travel in twos. Always have a buddy with you. The buddy system is a good thing. And if you don't have a buddy, text someone again to let them know, hey, here's where I'm going. Here's how long I should be. I'll be at these stores, and I'll text you when I leave heading home. Be alert at gas stations as well. Anything and everything could be a potential target. Okay, grocery store, church, gas station, intersection, sporting events, parades. That is difficult. Okay, the best thing you can do is be able to take care of you. All right, so keep your feet grounded. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Share the video if you like this information. Please hit like and leave a comment. If you need to reach me, you can at preparedness101@protonmail.com, or come over to our website. There's over 600 documents posted on it now. I've been loading it up with checklists on the Friday newsletters to help you out. My simple goal here is to help you and to hopefully get you through what we're going through safe and sound. Okay, so stay healthy. Lots of COVID cases are going around out there. I got several friends that are quarantined right now with COVID, so be safe and remember to get your life right. That's the most important thing here. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. All right, so blessings to all of you, and we'll talk soon. Bravo Echo out.